podcast with your host DJ Hotskull and my co-host Mr Kanyenze.
Thank you, DJ Hotskull. Welcome everyone to the first ever musical podcast with main inclination on the choral music. DJ Hotskull.
And guess what? Today we have our first host in the show, the president of ZACMA. I think he should introduce himself.
Yes, definitely taking us through this new journey that we are embarking on.
All right, thank you, DJ Hotskull, and thank you, Mr. Kanyenze. My name is Hopu Omunyari. I'm the president of the Zimbabwe Association of Choral and Musical Arts, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're Zimbabwe there. You're representing the country, isn't it? How far have you gone in terms of your geographical location? Are you operating from Harare alone?
Yes, it's been a journey. As ZACMA, we started off in 2020, and I think that was the period when we had the COVID situation. And then from there, we have been trying to build as much as possible. I think when the COVID situation, subsided, we have now been trying to build as much as possible in terms of structures in the provinces. And to date, we are represented in 7 of the provinces through our own ZACMA elected structures. And then we have in the Matabeleland region or the southern region, that is Matabeleland North, Matabeleland South, and Bulawayo province, where we have the Siepambili Choral Festival, sort of like helping us in terms of coordination in that area. So basically we cover the whole country in terms of our activities, and we intend to ensure that also this cascades down to the districts.
The name Zimbabwe, meaningful there.
Okay, and I really want to know the ZACMA Zonia story, because ZACMA Mabu, the choirs, name, but I have to do ZACMA Zoni.
Yeah, each word. But not ZACMA. We are just saying the Zimbabwe Association of Choral and Musical Arts. So basically what we stand for, we are working closely with choral groups. We are also working in the musical arts area. By musical arts, I'll break it down to say we look at anything that has music in it. Traditional dance, be it marimba, be it poetry with accompanied by music. Anything that is musical and it's an art form, we are looking into that. So it's the choral aspect and then the musical arts aspect.
Okay, I find it that's because I don't know that that's not to see.
Yeah, I think it's generally that's the take, because you will then see more of us in the choral environment, but we represent much more than that.
Interesting. You sound big. Are you legal?
Yes, very much legal. Yes, we have a deed of trust which basically constitutes us, and then we are also registered with the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe. So they are our primary key stakeholder. We report to them our activities on an annual basis. And then also we work closely with the Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture.
Oh, super. Are you confined to Zimbabwe alone?
No, not necessarily. So as ZACMA, we are affiliated also internationally. We are affiliated to the International Federation of Choral Music. And then we have good working relations in the region as well with other SADC countries. There are choral associations. So there are so many interactions that are there, and even something that we are trying to develop for the Southern Africa region together. I think this will be announced at a very later stage. Yeah.
That's time for you, DJ.
So we started off in 2020, but initial discussions had already started in 2019. And like I had mentioned, that the COVID situation, delayed our launch, but we didn't stop working. I think during that time, we even had some online activities and online engagements. We had some members, participating in the Nevis in Sembo, which was an online choral platform where we had some of our artists actually, or groups, recording music. And then it was sent and then published on the Nevis Ensemble platform. So we were working through and through. And then by the time that the COVID situation subsided, we then launched our dance festival, which was Dance Away COVID, and then a follow-up, which also came. And then we have been working closely with other, organizations, like-minded organizations, to try and ensure that, we build up choral music. As you know, with the COVID situation, it didn't allow for people to come together, but now things are now much, much better.
Wow, I like the dance part. When you say dance, so you're focusing on the traditional, the modern, contemporary.
Yeah, so I think there are things that we generally take for granted, and we do not really, push or publicize that much. So contemporary dance, for instance, is one area where we are seeing a lot of youths coming in and doing the various different types of dances. Traditional dances, we already have that. It's part of our culture, and I think there are other organizations that have been pushing that. But we wanted to see more of that being showcased, both traditional and the contemporary dances. And we had fun actually when we saw people break dancing, the new way of doing things, the kind of step up kind of a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to take you back. You mentioned Nevis Ensemble, something like that. Is that local? Was that a local?
No, Nevis Ensemble it's an international platform, which basically also promotes music, basically. So it's part of the IFCM, festivals, if I should say. So we had that opportunity of engaging them and saying, okay, we want Zimbabwe to be showcased here. And then they agreed, and we sent, what we could, and it was published, and we were happy about that.
Oh, interesting. You mentioned something to do with your registration, National Arts Council. We see at some of your events, you've got the minister there, you've got the PS there. What's your relationship with these institutions?
Right. So whatever that we do, like I mentioned, we at the end of the year, we always report, we give our annual reports to the National Arts Council. And for most of these occasions or events that we have hosted, it is ideal for the parent ministry to be represented. And we felt that it would be good to have that representation at that high level. So we had the deputy minister, coming for, the Tirompani regional elimination rounds. And then we also have the permanent secretary also coming in from the Ministry of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture. But the key thing there is just to keep our stakeholders in the know of what we are doing. And I think that at the end of the day will also open doors for our various choirs so that they can also go and participate outside. I think you agree with me that for most of these things, if you are not known or if you are not seen, then you might not be able to sort of like penetrate or even get support that much. So by inviting them so that they see for themselves, then that creates more traction in terms of what we want them to sort of like help us to move Zimbabwe forward in terms of choral and musical arts. All right, so we launched the ZACMA National Choral Awards in September 2024, and the idea there was just to recognize, artistry in the area. I think if you noticed, in Zimbabwe at the moment there is not much recognition of choirs or even people who are behind those choirs across the board. So we felt that it was necessary for us to sort of like highlight or put a spotlight on choral music itself, so that choirs can have sort of like recognition in terms of awards. So at that particular year, we partnered with CBZ Life. They came in, and then they were the sponsors for that event. And then we have tried now sort of like to move with that same trajectory. I think this year we have highlighted or called for nominations, and we're still working towards the prize giving itself. We have one or two things that we are still waiting on in order for the event to happen. It's now a bit late, but we still need to recognize those that need recognition. So we are working towards that. Yeah, definitely.
Best soloist.
That's good.
Yeah.
Then you mentioned CBZ as one of your sponsors. How has been sponsorship in Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
What are the sponsors or in any of you?
So in terms of sponsorship, I think over the years we had a bit of a gap. I think if you ask the older generation, they will tell you of Colgate, Palmolive, they will tell you of for a while sponsors that were there at the time, but it had been a bit quiet for a while. But right now, through continuous engagement with the private sector, we have CBZ, like I mentioned, coming in for the National Choral Awards. We have First Mutual, which is also sponsoring a competition, but focusing more on the church choirs. We have one of the biggest sponsors that we have received now to date, Econet Zimbabwe, with the Joy After Joy competition. They are coming in as the owners of the program and the initiators of the program. We are coming in there more as a consultant, assisting them with that particular competition, but that is more money which is being injected into the choral sector. And then we have individuals who also chip in and assist our choirs in terms of travel. I'll mention for the Tirompane, we had quite a number of individuals who came through just to support choirs to move forward. So these are some of the initiatives that are there, but it's not yet enough, and we're still knocking on more doors to try and ensure that we have bigger and better funding. Most of our choirs travel to South Africa for such competitions because of the sponsorship that is there, but we want something that we can say this is homegrown and this is money which is coming from Zimbabwe to Zimbabwe.
Oh, yes, DJ.
Mechine question here.
Anobvunza ingapera.
Atofana kuvafunza yese.
Because mukana kwa president inonetsa. May really utilize this. And you mentioned this local competition. Are there any plans for international competitions or sending choirs out there to do anything?
Yeah, we are constantly engaging with governments, and we are constantly engaging with sponsors. We have the World Choir Games, for instance. We have 3 choirs that are selected for that, and we're still engaging with government to see how best we can move that forward. And maybe also just to highlight that we are also grateful to government for recognizing some of our choirs. I think recently Chitungi's Harmony Singers was recognized, and they received a minibus, and then also their director was also recognized. These are some of the initiatives that we are pushing with government to see how they can sort of like continuously recognize our choirs, and we can represent our choirs, or the choirs can represent the country much better outside there with good funding. So there is continuous engagement in that at that front, and we are also even calling upon well-wishers who want, or even companies that can support these initiatives, so that we push more choirs to go for international festivals, so that the flag of Zimbabwe can continuously be flown at that stage. Yeah.
Did you know government yakambopa choir bus?
It's happening. All in good time. I think all in good time. We build, slowly, step by step, we'll get there.
So just out of interest, how would you rate your choral music in Zimbabwe in terms of organization, your choirs, regional, just regional?
So I think Over the years, I think we have noted that South Africa remains one of those powerhouses, even should be Swaziland or Lesotho, in terms of their, choirs and their participation and what they bring to the table. But in terms of technicalities, art, the craft, I think we are amongst the best. We are amongst the best. We have choirs that continuously, compete at that level. Even the past Tirompane, we had 2 choirs in the top 10. I think we were one of the countries which had that kind of representation. So it shows that there is something which is cooking and something that is happening within the country. Even the regional elimination rounds themselves, the differences in the marks, they show that there is serious input or serious work that is happening with the choirs. I would hasten to say, though, that we still notice that there is a little bit of, the element of structural professionalism which is lacking within our choirs. And this is one of our mandates, to try and push choirs to operate in a more professional manner, have their bank accounts, have their constitution, have their legal registration, things like that, so that at least when they need funding, it's easy for people to come in and then, provide that funding, because this is a legal entity which is existing. So we are trying as much as possible to get to those levels where we say our choirs, this is where we are and how they are structured and how professional they are, and then that would then sell at the end of the day.
Next time
social media platforms like my email,
Yeah, so we have our Facebook page. I think that's the most liveliest of them. And then we also have a website, ZACMA.org, which we put information generally. But if you look at our Facebook page, in most cases, that's where you have a lot of interaction. And also this particular podcast, Everything Musical, we felt that it is necessary for us to now have that direct interaction with everyone and anyone. So we believe choirs will be coming here, they will speak, they will say whatever it is, and we'll be picking up on the feedback that comes from this and try as much as possible to improve what we want to see in Zimbabwe. So this is the general direction as well with this particular podcast, and I believe it will gain traction and we'll get somewhere.
Super. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, DJ Hotskull.
Viewers, next time we'll be in Choral. Like what the President said, we are all over Zimbabwe. The next time we will be in Mutare. In the next edition. See you.